Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, everybody. For anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Lindsey Hall, and I'm an intimacy and empowerment coach. And I specialize in everything relationship based, but especially divorce, dating, and co parenting. So sometimes you might hear me refer to myself as a divorce coach. My title changes depending on what I'm doing that day. So I really love, though, with all of this overarching work, I love to help people deepen an intimacy with themselves and with other people, really own their power and their pleasure, and live a joyful life that they absolutely love. That underlines all of the work that I do. So every week I come on here and I do these tea break chats and Q&As where I talk a little bit about what's been going on for me in the past week, what's come up, challenges, lessons, celebrations, that kind of thing. And then I answer your questions in the Q&A part. So this week, the thing that I wanted to talk about, it's been a tricky week for me, to be totally honest. There's been a lot going on. It's a season of transition. If you watch these every week, you know that I've been talking about how January still felt like this period of hibernation, really leaning into the winter, into the fertile void of going underground and doing all that stuff. I now definitely feel a shifting. So Imbolc was last week, which was the halfway point between the winter solstice and and the spring equinox. So it's the point where we're really kind of starting to notice the shift in seasons, to notice, when you look outside, you see the snowdrops poking through and crocus is coming and daffodils, and there's, they're only still small, but there's these signs of change, and I've very much been feeling that myself too. And although it's like this beautiful time of finally kind of the darkness is starting to wane, we can see the increasing light, also change can be tiring. And it's very much a season of endings for me right now. And I'm seeing other people feeling that too, where I've had several coaching containers come to an end all at about the same time. I've got some other stuff kind of just, there's been a few things that are either already ended or coming to an end, which can be tricky. And I've had a lot of feelings around that. But then also it means a time of new beginnings and a time of, that we don't necessarily know what's coming next. And that is really exciting and can bring with it fresh energy. And it can also be a little bit worrying as well, this fear of the unknown. So I very much have this sense of things are changing right now. I don't necessarily know what the change is going to look like. I have an idea of some of it, but really there's this feeling of kind of going forward, stepping forward, trusting that it is all going to be changed for the best, trusting that it's working out for me, but not exactly knowing what it is I'm walking towards. And not even feeling like I'm walking towards it, feeling like I'm leaping. Like it feels like there's this big leap to be taken, and I don't know exactly where it's going to take me. Which, as I said, is really exciting and also a bit like, this unknown is a little bit uncomfortable. So all of that's going on. And then I was noticing this is having a big impact on my energy last week. So last week, I very much went into, my trauma responses got triggered. I went into, mode about my finances, about my business, about basically everything in my life. Because once we get triggered like that, it's really easy to kind of lump everything in. So I was in this, the world is ending. I'm good. It's all awful kind of frame of mind for a few days. And that is not a nice place to be. That absolutely does not feel good to me. It doesn't feel good to anybody around me. It's not the vibe that I want. It's not the vibe that's going to call in what I want. And I realized that although I didn't want to make it wrong that was happening, but also I was like, hey, I have some control over this. This is not where I want to be with my energy. Let me call in. Let me use the tools that I know I have so that I can make some changes here. So this weekend, I had my girls, so I very much was concentrating on them because they're 4 and 6 and need a lot of my attention. But I first of all, I'd brought my attention and my focus into my bubble. So me and my kids are my bubble. Everything that was outside of that just kind of had to wait for a little while. I did end up taking them to the aquarium. It was a 2-hour drive to get to the aquarium in Hull. Which was The drive itself was really nice. The aquarium was very busy and a little bit stressful, but it was a good day out with them and really did help me focus on them. And then on Sunday, we had a home day, and I could feel my energy kind of leaking. I was thinking about other people, thinking about other things, really like my energy was out there and therefore not in here. And I was feeling like I'd been spending a lot of time that way. It's feeling like I've been spending a lot of time outside of myself lately and really wanted to come back into myself. And this is an ongoing thing. This wasn't just that day. This is an ongoing thing. But I decided to really come back into myself that day. So the girls were happily playing with whatever they were playing with, and I took a long shower and did this whole visualization about like cleansing my energy chakras, feeling the energy coming in from my crown chakra down through my third eye, through my throat, through my heart, through my solar plexus, through my sacral, through my root, connecting all of the energy. Really, for me, the shower is the best place to do that because I can use the water as part of like the physical feel of the water helps me really feel the energy flow as well. So I did that. It also helps me because there happens to be a light. Like if I look up, there's a light like right there. So when I look up and in the shower, it's like this bright light, which helps me envision the bright light coming in through the top and down. So the whole situation just works really well for me to do these cleanses in the shower. So I did that, then got out, had a dance party, because if you've been around here for like any length of time, you know that dancing is really helpful for me. So I put on some loud music, went and had a dance party with the girls. My 6-year-old informed me that my dancing is weird. My 4-year-old informed me that she loves it and wants to do more dance parties. In my head, I thought, she's my favorite, but I couldn't actually say that out loud. But so I did a dance party, had the 4-year-old dancing with me, then went downstairs and so I could feel that like the cleansing kind of loosened everything up. The dance party, again, I could feel it like just shaking all the energy that I wanted to release. It was like shaking it off. So now it was all kind of like loose in my body was what I was envisioning. So then I got out my sage, and now I don't know if I necessarily do this right or not. I'm still like a baby witch in training when it comes to this sort of stuff. But I got out the sage because sage is good for clearing energy, cleansing energy. So I lit that and then opened the windows in the house so that the negative energy, just in the room I was in, so the negative energy could escape, waved my sage around my head all the way down, like through my chakras, saying out loud, I release any energy which does not serve me. I release any energy which is not mine, which does not serve my highest purpose. All of that. At which point, my 4-year-old came back down to figure out where the heck mommy was. So she got to join in with me. So she helped me with the sage clearing. And when all of this was done, I honestly felt like a whole different woman. It was like, oh. Whereas I had spent the morning like, after this little ritual, it was like, okay. Oh, and then I put on some, I used the free app Insight Timer and put on some energy vibration increasing music. It's like a specific, I think it was 528 hertz or something. Apparently that specific frequency of music is supposed to help raise the vibration. So I had that playing in the background. And yeah, honestly, it was like, okay, I felt in myself. I felt back in connection with myself. I felt, rather than having all my energy out there, it was like, I've called it back home to me. It's flowing, it's free, it's clear. And it made such a massive difference. And then I really committed to keeping this up. So I've been doing this the past few days this week. I've really been focusing on doing my own cleansing. So every day I've been doing this energetic cleansing. And this part's definitely more of a ongoing learning and practice for me of where to set energetic boundaries and where to keep those channels open. So there's, you know, when you've got stuff going on with other people or other situations in your life, for me, it can be, I'm really good at boundaries, energetic boundaries, like, you know, other types, like, so I can go, if there's stuff out there that I want no part in, I can go, whoo, it's like the gates come down. And it's like, whew, no energy is leaving or entering this bubble that I have just created. Like, it is rock solid, which is really good for protecting me. It also cuts off connection, which sometimes is the point, sometimes is not what I want. And I am very much still learning and experimenting how to set the boundaries, like if I want them to be the airtight, or if it's like, no, a bit of permeation is okay here, like some energy can come and go, but I'm in control of it, that sort of thing. So that's been the thing I've been working on this week, is kind of going, where can I not sever connection with the people around me, but also not be giving away my energy at the same time. I want to keep my energy, but still allow that connection. So that's been the piece I've been kind of playing with and working on this week some more. But I just really want to point out that all of these things make such a difference in how we feel. My actual, real life situation hasn't changed. I do not have any more money this week than I had last week. That's not true. If you saw, I did do a little post on Facebook. I'm calling in magic money this month, and I did call in 10 pounds of magic money on Friday. So I do have 10 pounds more than I had last week, which I am very grateful for, and I'm continuing to call in more magic money. But so overall, things haven't really changed. The stuff that was going on last week is still the stuff going on this week, but I feel so much different in myself. So just remembering that even though we can't control all that other stuff, we do have so much to say about our own situations and about our own feelings towards these things. I still need to take some actions and make some changes and go through, all of these endings and the new beginnings and the finding out what's going to come next. All of that is still in process, still happening. But instead of absolutely freaking out about it, I can come at it from this more grounded, calm space, in alignment with myself, in trust that this is working out. And whereas last week I was taking action, I went into big time, big action mode with capital letters. But that action was coming from a place of almost desperation. It was like, oh my God, this has to work. I need this now. Ugh. And like I said, not the vibe for me, not the vibe for anybody else. So although I'm still taking action this week, now the action is coming from, okay, I'm more grounded. I can see what I need to do to keep moving forward on this. I'm going to take this action and that action and that action and trust that I don't know which of these paths are going to work out, but I'm going to keep taking the action and trust that something will work out, or that it will lead me to a different path that does work out, and really from a much more grounded place. So all of that is freaking huge, to be totally honest. And this is stuff that I absolutely work with my clients on as well, and that there will be elements of this in my Divorce Crucible program, my 6-month program, that is to hold people's hands through the divorce process who want to do it differently. Because honestly, these feelings in this past week have triggered some of my divorce feelings, more than I have ever had since then. So it was 4 years ago that all of this was in its heightened, the height of the separation. And this week, brought up some of those same feelings in my body. Even though the situation is different, our body can respond, the trauma responses can feel the same. So it put me right back in there saying, okay, these are the tools that we use to take ourselves through this phase in life, whether it's divorce or whether it's post-divorce or whatever else. So it's really helped me actually kind of anchor back into, how do I want to hold my clients' hands through this process? What tools do I want to give them so that they can walk themselves through this while being held as well? And it's really just pouring into that program, because it can feel so often. I remember feeling like my divorce was just happening to me. So I didn't choose it. It very much felt like it just was put upon me and I had no choice, and that was a huge struggle for me. And I just kept feeling like, how is my life being flipped upside down through no choice of my own? How do I not have any say in this? And even if you are the one with a say in it, even if it is your choice, it can feel like, oh my gosh, maybe I wanted this, but suddenly the process had run away with me. Or maybe you're like, no, I definitely want this, but I still am feeling overwhelmed by it. Knowing that you have some tools that you can come back into yourself. I'm not saying it's easy. I definitely spent a few days in the triggered mode of blah. And I had to really work in my own head. And I've been doing this work for years now, but I had to really go, hang on, Lindsey, pull yourself out of this. And for me, it helped because I could say in my head, like, what would you have your clients do? What would you want them to do? What would you like to show them you doing? I was like, okay, I would like to show them that I use these tools. So use the freaking tools. But it took a little bit of like, come on, get it in gear in order to do that. So I'm not saying that this is easy. There was a part of me that wanted to just wallow in all of this for a little while. And then I went, all right, actually, this wallowing does not feel good at all. It's time to change it up. So the Divorce Crucible program is for anybody going through it who wants to be able to change it up, who doesn't want to feel like this is just happening to me. I have no say in it. I will continue to let this tidal wave roll me around until it's finished. It's not for those people. This program is for those people who go, okay, this is happening, like it or not, and I am going to take some control over how I feel. I am going to go, I've still got my own power. I'm going to come back into my own power, even regardless of what else is going on around me. If that's what you are looking for while going through your divorce, the Divorce Crucible is for you. Okay, this wasn't meant to turn into a sales pitch for that. It was just meant to tell you that this is what I teach in there as well. So sorry for the accidental sales pitch. Okay, let me just check. Oh, I don't have my watch on. I don't know what my watch is today. Anyway, I think we're okay for timing. Yes. So I had one question to answer today, which is a really good one, actually. I think I probably say it every week, don't I? I just never mean to make it sound like the other question I had was a terrible question. Pretty much every week I say, I've got a really good question. So the really good question I have this week was, what's the number one thing that you see that breaks down a relationship, that leads to divorce? Because so many people kind of assume that, or that, you hear stories, and particularly if you're going through it, and particularly if the cause of your divorce, the cause is due to somebody cheating on the other one, you will suddenly hear a million stories of people cheating on their spouse and breaking up the marriage. These stories come out of the woodwork like you wouldn't believe. I mean, it's already in the public narrative, but as soon as you say that that's what happened in your marriage, boosh, everybody's got a story. And so it really, I feel like the public narrative is kind of like, oh, it's usually a scumbag cheating on the other person. And to be honest, usually the man gets the blame for it. It's usually like, oh, all men are cheating scum. And that is not true. First of all, not all men cheat. But second of all, women cheat too. Third of all, just because you cheat doesn't make you scum. But this is the narrative. And really, so when I think about what is the number one thing that leads to a divorce, to a relationship breakdown, it's not one thing. It is a breakdown in intimacy over time. Because even if there is cheating or there is some big event at the end, that is the culmination of loads and loads and loads and loads of other breakdowns along the way. A perfectly healthy, secure, happy relationship, you don't just go out and cheat. There were other breakdowns along the way. And that can come from a ton of different ways and looks different in lots of different relationships. Every relationship is different. But the overarching answer is small breakdowns of intimacy along the way that get left untended to, brushed under the carpet, gets to the point where you think, oh, I can't even be bothered to fix that anymore, or I've tried but they haven't, or too little too late, or any number of other things. But it's the accumulated buildup. As with everything in life, I really believe strongly in this compound effect of it's the small things over time that lead to big things, for positive and for negative forces. And so this can be one of those where it's all of the various ways that intimacy can suffer in a relationship all factor in, really. Okay, I hope that was a helpful answer. I kind of feel like it's a bit of a cop-out, but also it is my answer. So that's what you get. So I'm going to leave it there. I will be back next week. Hang on. Next week is half term week, so I will be doing my tea break chat on Tuesday instead, because from Wednesday onwards I will have my kids home with me. And you do not want to see me try and do one of these with a 4 and 6-year-old running around, because it wouldn't go well. So tea break chat will be on Tuesday next week. If you've got a question for me, I'll pop it up on Monday, but also just send me a message at any point in time. You don't have to wait until then. Send it to me now while it's on your mind, and I'll make sure it gets included next week. If you are interested in the Divorce Crucible, or you have a friend who you think might be interested, and I'm really, really keen on this one, of if you have anybody in your life going through a divorce, please find a way to reach out to them to share this with them, because the number one thing that I hear when I ask people about like the impact of their divorce, it's the loneliness. And I of course, I mean the losing of their person, like their partner, but also of the friends, either losing friends or just disconnecting, feeling like it gets, relationships all across the board get a lot harder when you're going through divorce, and it can feel so lonely. So please, I know that a lot of us have this fear of like, but what if I share this and they don't want it and they get mad at me? Highly unlikely. If I knew that friends of mine had a solution to something that I could really use and they didn't share it with me, I'd be really sad about that. Whereas getting a message that said something like, hey, totally understand if this isn't for you, but I understand that you're in this period of life, and I hear from other people how hard and lonely it can be, so I just wanted to pass this along to you so that you know it's an option in case it ever feels like the right thing for you. Then your friend can easily just ignore it if it's not right, or it might be just the thing that they're looking for, and you actually have no idea because they're not talking to you about it because it's scary and hard. So I really do want to encourage you to share this with anybody in your life that is going through a divorce, because you just do not know if it might be the exact thing that they're looking for. Didn't even know that they were looking for until you sent it to them. So if that's the case, let me know and I can give you the links to share, or you can get the links from my bio on my website, that sort of stuff. But if you're like, hey, I've got a friend I want to share it with and I'm not quite sure how, like I said, drop me a message. I'll have the chat with you so you know how to have the chat with them. Totally here for that. Okay, that's it from me. I'm going to get going, and I will see you back here next week on Tuesday for our live tea break chat. And until then, have a wonderful week. If you've got any questions about like any of the energy stuff that I was talking about and how to, for yourself, just drop me a message and I can walk you through it more. But yeah, that's it. I hope you have a good week. I love you. Mwah.